The pandemic is now entering a more serious and complex period. Indonesian authorities scramble to prevent wider transmission of the novel coronavirus that has spread to at least 8 provinces. However, President Joko Widodo stressed that the government was not leaning toward issuing a lockdown policy at this time. As lockdown is now becoming such a popular word, what does actually it means? Therefore, the first graphic, I would like to explain to you what is lockdown. According to Cambridge Dictionary, lockdown is a situation in which people are not allowed to enter or leave area freely because of an emergency. In the meantime, according to health law professor, Washington College of Law, lockdown is mandatory geographic quarantines to non-mandatory recommendations to stay home, closures of business, bans on events and gatherings. And the World Health Organization, which officially declared the outbreak a pandemic this week, has called on all countries to continue efforts that have been effective in limiting the number of cases and slowing the spread of the coronavirus. One of the efforts is indeed by doing lockdown. Further, Lindsay Wiley, a health law professor at the Washington College of Law, went to say that lockdown isn't a technical term used by public health officials, but it can refer to anything from mandatory geographic quarantines to non-mandatory recommendations. And here are the countries and territories that have implemented mandatory mass quarantines and border closures so far. The first one, of course, we have China, and then we have Italia, or Italy, Spain, Denmark, El Salvador, Poland, South Korea, and Netherlands. And Wuhan, China, where the virus first appeared, has been locked down for more than 6 weeks, and at peak, China's quarantine spanned at least 20 provinces and regions. Meantime, another countries implementing lockdown, as you can see, Malaysia, France, Ireland, Philippines, Norway, Mongolia, Japan, and Austria. Yes, as I told you before, Wuhan, China, where the virus first appeared, has been locked down for more than 6 weeks. As its peak, China's quarantine spanned at least 20 provinces and regions. Countries around the world are implementing measures to slow the spread of the novel coronavirus, from national quarantines to closing schools. Basically, there are various ways to do lockdown, from partial lockdown to national lockdown. Here we can see example on how some countries are imposing coronavirus lockdown. Denmark, they're implementing border shuts. Philippines, lock down the capital city, which is Manila. Spain, stay-at-home order. Malaysia, shut business activities and events. And Italy, implementing the total lockdown. And President Joko Widodo asserted on Monday that imposing a lockdown was not in the works for Indonesia or any of its 34 provinces, saying that citizens should instead practice social distancing to contain the spread of COVID-19. However, if we talk regionally, there is proposed lockdown for Jakarta as capital city, as Jakarta recorded highest COVID-19 patients around Indonesia. In fact, Jakarta Governor Anies Baswedan has also considered the option. But what would it be if Jakarta has to be locked down? Economist of IndiHome has the arguments as follow. Let's see the next data. This is some of the consequences or economic consequences if Jakarta implementing lockdown. The first one is economic crisis, since 70% of money movement is in Jakarta. Freezing national economy, since Jakarta has Indonesia Stock Exchange and Central Bank. And then will rise national inflation up to 6%, since Jakarta owes 20% of total inflation, and Jakarta will suffer raw material necessity, especially food. And the economic impact in Jakarta will certainly be very big for the national economy. If Jakarta's total isolation policy is put in place, the national economy can enter crisis sooner than initially thought. In the other hand, regional heads in several areas, including Jakarta, Banten, and West Java, have decided to temporarily close schools and public areas in an effort to contain the outbreak. Whether the lockdowns will succeed in stemming the spread of the virus is a matter of debate by experts in public health and epidemiology. Some said the lockdowns would help, at least in theory. Let's see the advantages of lockdown through the next graphic. This is the list of the advantages of coronavirus lockdown. The first one is improving social distancing, slashing lethal pollution, sharply slowing virus global spread, and reducing average frequency of physical contact. And experts and scientists earlier called for the government to impose a lockdown and restrict the movement of individuals in areas that had been deemed hot zones of the COVID-19 outbreaks. They said a lockdown should be in place ahead of the Ramadan fasting month in April and the Eid al-Fitr holiday in May, arguing that annual exodus, or so-called as mudik, might heighten the risk of a nationwide pandemic. Whichever instruments that will be taken by government, whether it is lockdown or only social distancing, just remember that we have only one objective, which is to defeat the coronavirus. Stay tuned on Market Headlines because we'll be right back after the break.